Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching at this news hour with the news. I'm Biniam Githana. Thank you for joining us. Now, the news in full. Do stay tuned. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church's recent difference between the fathers, according to the government, should be settled amicably and within. The government has always followed protocol in the past, and whenever issues have arisen in order to keep national institutions strong and united, the government will keep stepping up this initiative. When internal issues threatening the institution's unity were brought up, the government encouraged them to be handled through dialogue and internal processes. It truly produced outcomes. All sides should carry out their responsibilities so that the conflict between the fathers of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church can be settled amicably through dialogue and in accordance with church custom. Elders and religious fathers should mediate a peaceful solution to the conflict by bringing the parties closer together. Meanwhile, followers should avoid to the issues and leveraging other parties in order to play a significant role. The security forces have a responsibility to protect the local populace, religious institutions, and peace. They ought to establish order among the sides that are escalating the confrontation. Likewise, media organizations should avoid publishing content that makes issue worse. The government also exhorts the populace to contribute positively to the efforts needed to find a solution. On the other hand, it has been determined that the forces attempting to sow discord by dividing phase a nation, as well as those who have tried unsuccessfully to destroy the nation, are striving to exacerbate this issue rather than find a solution. This will never be accepted by the government. The government pledges that it will endeavor to uphold the law against those who are attempting to worsen the situation, so discord among the populace and put the nation's peace and security at risk. Meanwhile, a referendum is happening on Monday, February 6, 2023 in 6 zones in 5 special districts of the Southern Nations, Nationalities and People Regional State. Thus, residents of these towns in the special districts are voting on whether they want to continue in the SNNP or form a new regional state to be called the South Ethiopian People's Region. All preparations have been finalized in Arba Minch town, the capital of Gamo zone, where our staff reporter Shegoy Matao is following up the development. Johannes Fanton has compiled the full story. Take a look.
The referendum will be held in Gamo, Gofa, South Omo, Gedo, Walaita, and Konso zones, as well as the Rashi, Amaro, Buji, Ale, and Basketo special districts. According to the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia, more than 3 million people have been registered to participate in the referendum. The new state means the number of regional states in the Federal Republic will grow to 12. According to Bergane Bekkala, election coordinator in charge of polling station in Arba Minch, election materials and resources needed for the referendum have been adequately distributed to all polling stations.
There are 804 polling stations in our zone, and above 650,000 voters are registered by now. So we are ready. These 804 polling stations are ready to accept or to facilitate the voting process.
Meanwhile, head of the Gamo Zone's Peace and Security Department told ATV that security forces are in standby mode to monitor the peace during the referendum.
A comprehensive security and safety plan is in place. The plan defines who should do what. A consensus has been reached on the plan with all the security agencies.
Some 3,752 polling stations have also been prepared to conduct the referendum across 6 zones and 5 special districts, it was learned.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are in the training segment where we see pertinent issue in line with the referendum. Voting is underway in Walaita, Gamo, Gofa, South Omo, Gedeon, and Konso, as well as the 5 special districts of Darashe, Amara, and other, of course, places. And to tell us more on this relevant points, I'm joined in the studio by my colleague Kidana Baina. A very warm welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, having what I said in mind, what can you tell us about this referendum?
All right, so let me start us off with a bit of a background now. Back in October of 2022, Chairwoman of the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia, Burtukan Mideksa, had announced that the board was preparing to hold a referendum in 6 zones and 5 special districts in the Southern Nations and Nationalities People region, or SNNP for short, on the 6th of February 2023, which happens to be today. So the zones include Walaita, Gamo, Gofa, South Omo, Gedio, Konso zones, as well as Darashe, Amaro, Burji, Ale, Basketo special districts of the SNNP region. Now, the outcome will determine the reconstitution of a new regional state out of the existing Southern Nations and Nationalities Peoples region, and Arba Minch City is the center, or the coordination center, of the referendum in which the election is taking place, and the results of this referendum are scheduled to be announced on the 15th of February. Now, the board had been preparing for the referendum following the decision by the House of the Federations accepting the request from the zones and special districts to be reorganized into one regional state.
So, saying what you have, of course, explained it, this is a third of its kind when this is happening. So, what can you tell us from the previous 2?
All right, so this referendum is the third, like you just mentioned, and it's after it held the first on the 23rd of November 2019, in which more than 2.3 million registered voters cast their votes in 1,692 polling stations. And what was the first referendum, and it saw the creation of the Sidama regional state out of the Southern Nations Nationalities region. And 2 years later, then, in October 2021, 5 zones and 1 special warada comprising of Kafa, Shaka, Ben Shako, Dauro, and West Obo zones and Konto Special Warada held a referendum to merge and create a new regional state, the Southwest Ethiopia People's Regional State, becoming the second new regional state out of the Southern Nations and Nationalities People region.
Thank you so much, Kidan, for shedding more light on this very pertinent point. I really appreciate for coming to the studio.
All right, thank you so much.
And moving on, Chairperson of the National Election Board of Ethiopia, Burtukan Mideksa, declares all the necessary preparations are done to undertake referendum in 6 zones and 5 districts that were under the Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples region. If supported by the inhabitants in the respective zones and districts, the referendum slated on February 6 becomes a green light to establish a new region. In order to guarantee that each group of people receives their fair share, the action is being taken in light of constitutional principles and the federal system. Daniel Kasson tells us more on this.
In last August, the House of Federation has given green light for 6 zones and 5 districts that were under the Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples region to hold a referendum and establish a new region if supported by the inhabitants. It also instructed the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia to conduct referendum within 3 months consequently. All the necessary preparations are put in place to hold the referendum. Chairperson of the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia, Burtukan Mideksa, urges the leaderships at all levels and the security entities to provide all the necessary support for the finalization of the referendum peacefully and democratically.
Registration of the electorates has so far been completed in the 3,769 polling stations. What is better in this election is more awareness works have been undertaken for the smooth process of the referendum day on February 6th. Discussion and argument forums were done successfully. Monitoring and evaluation teams have been doing the preparations very well. We are pretty sure that all the necessary preparations are put in place accordingly.
The chairperson also recalled the experiences drawn from the referendums undertaken in Sidama and Southwest regions would help this one more effective.
Our teams are well prepared to address challenge of the unprecedented mishaps which might arise through the polling process. Swift measures will be provided to make a fair and clear referendum. We have been able to correct some problems with the executives and our teams deployed there. We are passing through new experiences.
The leaderships at all levels and security entities are ready to provide all the necessary supports for the finalization of the referendum peacefully and democratically.
Meanwhile, voting is underway in Walaita, Gamo, Gofa, South Omo, Gedio, Konso, as well as the 5 special districts of Darashe, Amaro, Burji, Ale and Basketo of the SNNP region. If voted by the majority of the referendum being held today, the 16th of February 2023, Ethiopia will see the information of its 12 regional states since 1995. The referendum is the third similar exercise by the electoral boards after it held the first on 23 November 2019, in which more than 2.3 million registered voters cast their votes in 1,692 polling stations that saw creation of a new Sidama regional state out of the Southern Nations Nationalist People's Region. In Arba Minch town of Gamo zone, voting is underway in a very calm and peaceful manner. That is according to our staff reporter, Shegoy Matao.
Years ago, horse riders in the Awi zone of the state of Amhara established the Sabatbet Agao Equestrian Association. Today, more than 60,000 horse riders are members of the association. By the end of January, the association annually conducts a horse riding parade and show in Injibara town. The Sabatbet Agao Horse Riders Equestrian Association was established by people of the local who were fighting the Italian invasion.
Yawi mahaver ማለት ነው ያዊ ህዝብ ማህበር ማለት ነው
The annual horse riding festival is probably the largest horse riding festival on the planet. Horse is an integral part of the Agao life. The Agao used their horses for transport, for weddings, and the horse race as well. It was during the brutal invasion of the fascist Italy that the Agao on their horsebacks repulsed the enemy's aggression. The Agao Horse Racing Festival is celebrated colorfully in Injibara, seat of the Awi Agao administrative zone of the state.
ዋንጫ ያመጣና
አንደኛ ይወጡ ነበር አባትሽ እሺ
እና ከዚያ ላይ እሱን አይቼ መልመድ ፈልጌ አልምዴ ስለው አልመደኝ
የፈረስ ማን ነው ሻንቆ ነው ይባላል እንዴት ነው ጉልበቱ ጎበዝ ነው
አዎ ምንም አይደል
ተለማምደሻል ለዚህ ዝግጅት ስንተኛ ትወጫለሽ
አንደኛ እወጣለሁ ብዬ ሞክራለሁ
You're still watching at this news hour. Now step into another development news. Ethiopia's recent economic developments offer a glimmer of hope following various economic liberalization efforts. Deputy Chairperson of Prosperity Party, Adam Farah, indicated the achievements registered in the economic sector in the past half are worth to be replicated in the other sectors. The plan of homegrown economic reform of the country is showing positive trajectory to ensure the aspired prosperity of Ethiopia in the intended time. Once again, Daniel Kasawan tells us more.
The current government of Ethiopia has come to the people with homegrown economic reform agendas to ease the burdens in the economic performance and to benefit the public at large. In the last 4 years, even within challenging situations, the Ethiopian economic reform program has proved itself resilient to various shocks it encountered. Now, it is taking reliable positive trajectory and lessons are being drawn from it to achieve in other sectors. The deputy chairperson of the Prosperity Party, Adam Farr, indicated the achievements registered in the economic sector in the past half year are worth to be replicated in other sectors.
With regard to the economy, we have been able to perform a lot in the sector. As a party, our direction has been targeting multiple economic sectors and approaches. The untapped huge potential of the country has been taken into consideration to ensure the aspired prosperity.
The Minister of Plan and Development, Fitsum Assefa, indicated the current trend of socio-economic performance of Ethiopia is in a positive manner. Dr. Fitsum said the nation's economy will be projected to have better results from the last year's 6.4% growth to 7.5% during this fiscal year.
The revenue we collected from the mining sector is not encouraging. If compared to last year's, it has shown over 50% reduction. The other activities are carried out in the past by withstanding all the pressure and challenges are bearing fruits. According to the economic forecast, the nation's economy is projected to be 7.5%. We have to bear in mind that Ethiopia has been able to perform better leadership for better results.
The current trend shows the agriculture sector will contribute to greater performance, maintaining the status quo. With regard to the industry, the sector is projected to grow by 8.2% in this fiscal year.